Have you ever wondered why moms and women face burnout more often than men? Also, do you know that there is something that we thought we are doing right as Christian moms and women, but if we are not careful enough, it could be something dangerous. Hello, my gorgeous. Welcome to Faith and Femininity podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Wong, and just like you, I wear many hats in my life. I'm a mom, a wife, a coach, a teacher, a daughter, a sister, and most of all, I'm a woman and I am a child of God. As a faith and femininity coach, I empower Christian moms and women to live a joyful and fulfilled life. Follow my podcast as I share more about self-care, soul care, self-love, soulful parenting, family connection, and most importantly, tapping into the femininity and masculinity that God has created in us and the men around us, and live a life with faith and reflecting God's power, glory, and love. Let's dive into today's podcast episode. So many moms and women are facing burnout. So many are feeling stressed and tired and overwhelmed, frustrated and easily irritated. And these women and moms also have experienced how these feelings have caused them to lose their sleep. And if you think of it, it is such a vicious cycle, isn't it? When how these feelings of stress and overwhelm cause you to lose your sleep, and in return, losing sleep causes you to be even more tired and stressed and overwhelmed. So it is so important that we actually start to step up and break this cycle. If not, it will just continue to roll onto every day and it will actually build up as well. Moms and women face a lot of burdens, and we knew we have these burdens, but it is so unspoken sometimes, and we just kind of adapted to it. There's work, home life, family, children's daily routines or schedules, your husband, parenting and caregiving, sometimes for your parents as well, for the moms or women's own parents. And it's not to say that men do not have all these kind of roles. They do have these roles as well. Men are also tied to many roles as well, but moms and women usually will face the burnt out even more. It hits moms and women harder. The history have definitely played a role in this, and although the world is already trying to balance and equalize how they have treated moms and women, but moms and women now have also failed, or it's not, some of you are not actually stepping up to claim back that kind of life, because you have already adapted and you have already accepted how the society view you, and you are fearful, and you do not have the courage to actually go against the status quo, or you do not have the courage to actually do something that's different, because you don't know how the society will view you then, or you don't know if you do something like that, how you will be judged, because you are already so comfortable in the way that history and your family and your how you were taught and educated since young, and what you have seen, how you have seen moms and women carry themselves since young. You are already very familiar with that kind of how they have shown up, and for you to actually step out and show up better for yourself, you are actually feeling that kind of fear and I don't know, and reluctant, because you are not sure how others will actually view you when you actually go against that. They will probably think that, hey, that's not how a woman or mom should be behaving, or they will think that, hey, when you are doing that, you're actually so selfish. Have a look at the other moms. They're actually not doing that, and they, and they are a better mom than you. So that's why a lot of moms and women, even though it is uncomfortable for them, it dims their light, it dull their sparkle, it dull their dazzle, they don't find joy in it, they are afraid to step out and actually step up to change their life, because they are worried how the society will view them, how their friends will view them, how their family will take it, and many more. And the thing with moms, Christian moms and women, is that we know that God has our back. It's no doubt. We have the spiritual foundation that Jesus loves us, and God is there to provide for us and support us through our life. We have He is our provider, and we have no fear about our future. We always sing the song that God will make a way and He is always there for us. But it is sometimes very ironic how Christian moms and women are the ones who are always stuck in this same cycle, and they are unable to break out of it. We know that God has created us wonderfully and fearfully and beautifully. He made us, but we are always burying ourselves under the unworthiness and undeserving, and it's very ironic because we have forgotten, we were taught, but we have forgotten, or when we are in church, we always sing and we reaffirm our faith, but when we are out of church, when we are come to face with the daily problems and the life struggles, we've forgotten that we actually have the power that God gave us, that God invested in us, and we have forgotten that He has asked us to depend on Him. He has asked us to trust in Him. He has made us to depend on His greatness, to help us change the way we live, and to live out the desire that He put in our heart. And another thing that Christian moms and women tend to do wrongly, or actually very dangerously, is that when we are faced with any problems in life, we tend to go through spiritual bypass. And what does it mean by spiritual bypass? Spiritual bypass is we use spiritual ideas and practices to avoid and to just cover up the problems in life, and we don't want to go and face the problems, and we did not solve the emotional issues and the wounds, the psychological wounds behind it, as well as the unfinished developmental task, because every triggers and problems in our life is there's actually something for us to learn. But the moment we say we just hand it out to God and not do anything, it is actually very irresponsible of us, and I don't think that God actually wants us to do that, because He has asked us to be a good stewardship of what we have given. So He has given us this life, and it does not mean that when we are given with this life, we just sit, we just do nothing, and and just wait for things to happen. But God has also asked us to be responsible. This is the life that we have, and we can depend on Him and be responsible for our life and do something for our life, because it is through our life and what we do in our life that we reflect who God is. And if we don't do anything in our life and we just go through it mundanely and in a very boring state, in a very depressed state, it is very not joyful, or it doesn't sparkle, it doesn't shine, you will not be able to shine for God. Another example of spiritual bypass is something like you and everybody, okay, as mom or women, people like to compare. how we are different from other people, how moms are doing differently, how women carry themselves differently. And when we are compared as a human, as a mom, let's say for example, and as human, you are and I am, all of us, we will feel judged and compared, and probably you might even have that tiny tingling sensation in you whereby it tells you that you are not that good, or you are not good enough, or you didn't do well enough. And but as a Christian, because you have that spiritual foundation in your life since young, or since whenever you have come to know the scripture or come to know God, very quickly you come to your senses, instead of staying in that trigger and staying in that self-judgment. You quickly sweep it off and you say that, hey, who are they to judge me? It's only God who can judge. And so this thought, you thought that is already out of your mind, out of your thought, out of your life. But when you do that, you are actually not solving it deeper. When you're not solving it, it will just come back to you again. Things like that will come back to you again and again, and it will just bury on top of each other. And one day, similar issues like that, or even issues that is tinier than this but has the same meaning behind it, of how you are feeling judged, of how you are feeling you are not worthy, or how you are feeling you are not good enough, you suddenly burst, and you suddenly I don't know, you probably will face some red flags, or you will meet with something that will wake you up. But don't wait until then to solve it. If you are feeling all these little triggers, sadness, disappointment, upset, anger, irritated, even when you are feeling happy and joyful and excited, it is always good to not just sweep it away, but to look deeper and see what God has in that situation for you to learn. Ask God to reveal to you what this situation is bringing, what lesson does this situation have for you. And yeah, so instead of saying that it is okay, God will deal with it, which is not totally wrong, but God gave you this life so that you can be a good stewardship and be responsible, and it is important that we learn from whatever triggers or whatever happy moments that we have, and use this to continue building a life that is joyful and rewarding and shining your light to others and reflecting God's love. So God has our back, but you need to be responsible too. Okay, so it is time for us moms and women to step up and to trust in God's power and wisdom, and time to look into our life and see how we can make it better, instead of staying and being stuck in that sameness which you truly want to come out of, but you are fearful. So I hope this speaks to you today. Thank you, and bye bye. See you next time. Thank you so much for spending your time here with me today. If you feel moved, prompted, or inspired in any way by today's episode, please share it on your story and tag me. Follow me on Instagram at rachelwsf.co to learn more about femininity and masculinity that God has created in our hearts, and celebrate God's love. Remember that God has your back, and you get to create a life that you love with faith and trust in God and yourself. Lots of love and cheers! Bye for now!